October 26, 2014, from Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, Missouri. It was the St. Louis Rams at the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs won the toss and they elected to first, so the Rams took over with the ball first, and they started things off on their own 35. And then on 3rd and 1 from the 44, Austin Davis hit Kenny Britt for a 43-yard pass that brought the ball to the red zone at the Kansas City 13. And then a few plays later, it was 1st and goal from the 1, and Austin Davis hit Kendricks for a 1-yard touchdown pass that put the Rams on the board first with the score 7-0 St. Louis over Kansas City. So now the Chiefs would take over for their first possession of the game with about 12 minutes left in the first quarter. They had the ball on their own 20, and they would end up having to punt the ball 6 plays later. So now the Rams took over with less than 8 minutes left in the first. They had the ball on their own 17. They picked up the first down, and then on first down from the 34, Davis dropped back to pass, and he was intercepted by Parker. So now Kansas City would take over on their own 31, but they would go 3 and out and put the ball back to St. Louis. St. Louis would also go 3 and out, and they punted it back to Kansas City. So now the Chiefs took over on their own 50 with about 2.5 minutes left in the first. They would bring the first quarter to a close, and so after one quarter of play, the score was St. Louis 7, Kansas City 0. So now to start things off in the second quarter, Kansas City had the ball on the St. Louis 23. It was 2nd and 1. They ended up picking up the first down, and then a few plays later, it was 3rd and 6 from the St. Louis 18, and Alex Smith hit Travis Kelce for a 17-yard pass, and that made it 1st and goal on the 1, and Jamaal Charles punched it in from a yard out, and this game was now tied at 7 apiece. So now the Rams took over, and they would end up punting 6 plays later. So now the Chiefs got the ball with about 8 minutes left before halftime. They had it on their own 20, and Alex Smith fumbled, and it was recovered by St. Louis. So now the Rams had the ball on the Kansas City 8-yard line, and they would struggle to get anything going. And on 3rd and 6 from the Kansas City 6-yard line, 3rd and goal from the 6, Austin Davis was sacked for a 14-yard loss by Parker, as he was very active for the Kansas City defense today. And so now it was 4th and 20 from the Kansas City 20, and Greg Zerlane came out to attempt the 38-yard field goal, and it was no good. And so the score remained tied at 7 apiece. And the Kansas City Chiefs dodged a bullet, and they took over on their own 28-yard line with about 5.5 minutes left in the first half. The Chiefs would then bring the ball across midfield and into St. Louis territory, and they ended up having their drive, though, stall when on 3rd and 13 on the St. Louis 28, Alex Smith was sacked by Robert Quinn. He actually sacked Smith twice. On 2nd and 12 from the 27, he sacked him for a 1-yard loss, and then on 3rd and 13 from the 28, he sacked Smith for a 7-yard loss. So Robert Quinn with a pair of sacks on consecutive plays, and so now Cairo Santos would come out to attempt a 53-yard field goal, and it was up, and it was good. And so now it was Kansas City 10, St. Louis 7. So now the Chiefs would kick off the ball for the final play of the first half. It was an 11-yard return by Austin. And so at halftime, the score was Kansas City 10, St. Louis 7. So on the opening kickoff, the Rams would kick off to the Chiefs to begin the second half, and Knile Davis ran it back 99 yards for the touchdown on the kickoff return to begin the second half, and the score was now 17-7, Kansas City over St. Louis. So now the Rams would get the ball on their own 20, and they would end up punting the ball 5 plays later. So the Chiefs would now take over on their own 6-yard line with about 13 minutes left in the third, and they would bring the ball all the way across midfield and into field goal range and into the red zone, but their drive stalled on the St. Louis 10, and Cairo Santos would come out to kick a 28-yard field goal, and it was now 20-7, Chiefs over the Rams. The Rams would then go 3 and out, and the Chiefs would take over with about 7 minutes left in the third, and after 5 plays, they would punt the ball. So now St. Louis would get the ball with about 4 minutes left in the third. They had it on their own 6, and after 6 plays, they punted it back to Kansas City. So now the Chiefs took over with about a minute and a half left in the third quarter, and they brought the third quarter to a close, and after 3, the score was Kansas City 20, St. Louis 7. So now to open up things in the fourth quarter, the Chiefs had the ball on the St. Louis 46. It was first down, and Jamaal Charles ran for 10 yards for another first down. So now it was first down on the St. Louis 36, and Jamaal Charles broke one loose as he ran 36 yards for the end zone for the touchdown, and it was now now 27-7. Kansas City over St. Louis as the Chiefs extended their lead to 20 points. So now the Rams took over on their own 20 with about 14 minutes left in this game, and they would go 3 and out, and the Chiefs would get the ball back with about 13 and a half minutes left. They had it on their own 21, and they went the length of the field at 79 yards and 12 plays in about 7 minutes as they ate up a bunch of game clock, and their drive was capped off by a 3-yard touchdown run by Knile Davis to make the score 34-7, and that all but ended the game. There was still 6.5 minutes left on the game clock, though, and the Rams had the ball on their own 10, and they marched all the way down into the red zone, and on 3rd and 1 on the Kansas City 17, Austin Davis was sacked by Houston, and that would bring up 4th and 8 from the Kansas City 24, and Davis was sacked by Howard and Walker as they combined for the sack, and that turned the ball over on downs as the Chiefs took over now on their own 28 with about 2.5 minutes left in the game. They would go 3 and out, and they punted the ball back to St. Louis with just seconds on the clock. They ran one play, and the game came to a close with the final score, Kansas City 34, St. Louis 7. And with the victory, the Chiefs are now 4-3 on the season, and the Rams are 2-5. And in this game, Alex Smith was 24 for 28 with 226 passing yards. He also rushed for 24 yards off of 4 carries. Austin Davis was 15 for 25 with 160 yards, 1 touchdown and 1 interception, and he ran for 1 yard off of 1 carry. The leading rusher in the game was Jamaal Charles with 73 yards off of 13 carries. He also rushed for 2 touchdowns. Knile Davis had 49 yards off of 16 carries, and he rushed for 1 touchdown. The leading receiver in the game was Dwayne Bowe with 64 yards off of 6 receptions. Jamaal Charles also had 44 receiving yards off of 4 receptions. And in this game on defense, the leading tackler was Joyner for the Rams. He had 10 tackles. The Rams had 2 sacks, both of which were for Robert Quinn on those consecutive plays there. But the Chiefs had 7 sacks in this game. Houston had 3 sacks all by his lonesome. Parker had a sack. He also had an interception as well. And Bailey had 1.5 sacks. And then Walker and Ford and Howard each had a half sack. So the Kansas City Chiefs just dominate St. Louis, and they pick up the victory with the final score, Kansas City 34, St. Louis 7.